Barry, now you're one of the greatest running backs of all time. One of the guys here in the studio has talked about the trend in the NFL where the running game has been devalued, and he's really kind of against drafting running backs high because somebody like Raheem Mostert, who's bounced around from team to team, can end up starring. Do you like what you've seen, though, in the last couple of weeks where the running games, it's kind of carried a couple of these teams to where they are?
No, no, it really has, and I do like what I've seen. You look at the running backs, just throughout these playoffs. You saw what Derrick Henry was able to do. Even Dalvin Cook, like you mentioned, Raheem Mostert. And so the running game has been very involved in the playoffs, and I'm assuming it'll be heavily dependent on certainly by the 49ers in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Well, who do you lean towards in this matchup, the passing offense or the running offense?
I'm leaning toward the running offense. I think because the Niners are backed up by a great defense, I think the Chiefs have a pretty good defense, but I would give the nod defensively to the 49ers. But hey, look, again, we're hoping for a high-scoring game so we can give away a ton of cash at. Like I said, with every score change, the Rocket Mortgage is going to give away $50,000. But if you're twisting my arm asking me, I would lean toward the Niners.
Did you like what type of blocking scheme did you prefer as a running back? Do you like that zone blocking scheme which Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers employ? Obviously, his dad did that with the Broncos back in the day.
I do like that, and even things like just the basic sweep that they do, and really some of the things that they do remind me of almost like Vince Lombardi. The off tackle play, running through the alley. You see a lot of that with this team. But they've mastered the running game. You take. You take the top two running backs, Mostert and Bria, and they both average 5 yards a carry, over 5 yards a carry. Mm-hmm. So they're doing something. They're doing something right in the running game, and I'm assuming it's going to figure big into the Super Bowl as well.
Where do you see your running style fitting in today's game? I mean, you obviously had an incredible talent, the way that you could just evade tacklers. I'm sure it would work anywhere. Do you think you'd be better off in today's game that does tend to focus on more passing? How do you feel?
It would be fun to really try it out. I think there would be a place for it. I don't know if I would be as successful, but I've always said, even over the last 10, 20 years, that the running game will catch up with the league. It just takes time. You see coaches and even offenses with doing different schemes to get running back involved in the game, with pistol formations and with run-pass options and things like that they did not have in the 90s when I played. And so I think it's really about just being with a great creative offensive coordinator that is determined to run the ball and determined to get the ball into the running back's hands.
Joined by Barry Sanders, Hall of Fame running back. Rocket Mortgage is teamed up with the NFL, and during the Super Bowl, you'll have a chance to win $500,000 in the largest game ever of Super Bowl squares. Matt Valdez is very excited about that. Barry, when you look at your career numbers, do you see what guys are doing, like modern-day running backs, guys like Austin Eckler out of the backfield who get targeted 100-plus times? And do you think I could have had 80 or 90 receptions out of the backfield on top of my gaudy rushing numbers too?
Oh, yeah, well, you certainly see that. That's a big part of the game. And again, it just depends on, what your scheme is and offensive coordinator. But no, yeah, that certainly helps add to what running backs are doing. And it's good to be versatile in that way. And if you can get all of that in one player, all the better. A lot of teams have a guy that can run the ball and a guy that's good out of the backfield. But you're certainly seeing a lot more of that in today's game.
Yeah, and Christian McCaffrey comes to mind when you talk about that. How do you think Christian McCaffrey's game would have translated back in the 90s?
Well, no, Christian, he can play in any era.
Yeah.
The guy got 1,000 yards rushing and receiving. He's a dynamic player. I watched Christian a lot at Stanford. My son actually played behind Christian at Stanford, and so I saw him play a lot. He's a fantastic talent, and he's continued that on into the NFL.
Who's Barry Sanders' favorite running back to watch nowadays? Is it Christian?
Well, I love watching Christian. I would say, it's for consistency over the last 3 or 4 years. You have to look at Zeke Elliott. For this season, you have to give a nod to Derrick Henry, what Derrick was able to do. He's come on. It seems like every year he's gotten stronger and better, and this year he just kind of exploded onto the scene. But there's a lot of good young running backs in the game. Saquon Barkley comes to mind. Nick Chubb comes to mind. I mean, Josh Jacobs. I mean, really the list goes on and on. And so I think you're almost seeing a resurgence of the running back. This year, 15, 16 guys got 1,000 yards rushing. And so that says a lot about what the running game means too.
Including Lamar Jackson.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a top 10. I think he was number 5 or 6 on the list.
Yeah.
So give Lamar a lot of credit for that. I mean, that's amazing to think about. So the running game has certainly made a resurgence in today's game.